A massive thank you to Brennan, Luke, Geordie, Alfie and Mike for subscribing to the channel. If you're not already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here for round 5 of Season 3 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we return here for the Miami Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the videos that went live towards the end of last week and over the weekend from the Miami Grand Prix, would highly recommend going back. And, sorry, from the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix even, I should say. I would highly recommend going back and checking them out. But as we head towards Miami this weekend, of course, we have got some big upgrades ready to go on the car. With a bit of luck, we have got 3 ultimate upgrades that should be done. 2 before Miami, and then 1, I think, for the weekend afterwards. So, really got my fingers crossed that this is all going to go through properly. The first one, yes, there we go, both of them. Straight onto the car. That's going to give us a big boost as we head towards Miami this weekend. We'll skip over. We've got development events. We've got all things going on. We'll do that. 50 grand is nothing on F1 22. But yeah, we've got 7 million. Let's have a look then so you can see we're right now with the big 4 teams. So theoretically now we should be even on pace with them. We've got a lot of R&D points still. Of course we can't use at the moment because we're desperately waiting to try and get our facilities up to level 3. Can we do chassis upgrade? No, we can't still. So, still got a little bit more work to do. We need to earn some more money for the team. But of course, yeah, if you're new around here, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed as well, of course, for daily Formula 1 content. Miami, though, today, trying to hit 100k subs at the moment, so please do help me get one step closer. But let's get into it then here in... It's not... I was about to call it the Sunshine State, but that's definitely not right. We're back at the Hard Rock Stadium. Right, well, here we are then, back in Miami, round 5 of the year. Of course, ticked off those first 3 races super quickly, and then I've had so many other projects in the way. Meant we haven't really sort of been able to get into the meat of Season 3 of this career mode just yet. But of course, after the next couple of races, when we really get into the European leg of the season, we'll have to wait and see how things unfold and unravel. Of course, I actually do really enjoy the Miami GP circuit still on F1 22. It is quite a good fun track to drive. Completely appreciate it doesn't really give great real racing, but a little bit offline there, but picked it all back up. A lot of green scores, not many purple. But the lap seemed to have picked up as it went on. We got a few more purple scores around the second half. The lap, we did just miss out, I think, on the purple score. I don't actually know how many points we did get, to be honest. We need 580 though if we want to get purple. We got 540 last time. We can definitely get this. I've noticed something very strange as well here at Miami. The DRS beep on the back straight is about a second delayed. So if you press it when you hear the sound like I tend to, you don't actually get the purple score. There we go though, that is going to be a purple score to kickstart the weekend. Let's just continue on with practice. I feel like currently on this game we're a bit like a modern day Force India. We've got a really quick car, but we've just got no money to do anything extra with it, as we are definitely lacking top end speed around this venue based on the rundown towards 1. But apparently we've got not enough downforce through the corners as well. I can't remember if Miami's a bit broken for qualifying runs, but that's not the best way to start one. I mean, look at this as we head out onto the back straightaway. We're not really gaining much through the corners either, but I think, yeah, Miami might be a little bit broken still on F1 22 when it comes to qualifying simulation runs, because I certainly am not going to be able to find another second around this venue as rounding through the final couple of corners we go up towards the start-finish line. 1.2 seconds is not going to be closable. I'm not going to be able to find that. So a 28.0 will do. Doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence, but we've got to get into qualifying. Formula 1 is finally back in 2022, and now you can rep your favourite teams. Of course, using the F1 store, every team now has merch lineups available, whether you're an Aston Martin fan, a Williams fan, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, the choice is completely up to you. But yeah, check out the F1 merch store down below for all the official releases from all of the teams. And of course, as always, if you use our links as well, you massively help support the channel. So yeah, give it a look and see if there's anything you like. Right, well here we are then, back in the sunny streets of Miami. Jumping straight, of course, into Q2. And if Q1 times are anything to go by, we have now got a car that can absolutely fight here. Maybe the qualifying simulation run was slightly inaccurate. Maybe a few of the other teams just hanging back on their pace ever so slightly. But now we are in the hunt as we head down through turn 1. Try and keep it nice and tidy. We want to be getting down into the 26s to see ourselves into Q3. But trying to get one lap really hooked up around here can be, it can be quite difficult. You really have got to try and nail it. Just see through there, running a little bit wide. You can see just how much that throws the car off. Really, really careful on the exit of that curbing. Using all the curb through the next corner. Actually pick up a warning, but lucky to get away with it. And then right up to the wall on the exit of those first few S's. Braking down heavily at the 100-metre board through the final couple of turns we go. Oh, nudge the wall on the exit there. Lucky to get away with that one, but up towards start-finish line there. Like I said, we need a 26. Oh, it's a 27.0. Still puts us fastest, but we might have to go for one more run here, just in case the times really do improve. As there we go, Verstappen immediately 26.9. Well, there we go then, having a look at the end of Q2. I did gamble it, and we only just sneaked by and into Q3 there. Valtteri Bottas on a 26.3, so Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren all starting to find a little bit more pace there. Mick Schumacher into Q3 in his hats. Love to see that. Daniel Ricciardo and Nicolas Latifi both out in Q2. Are we surprised they're underperforming? I'm not so sure we are. And then, yeah, Gasly and Albon, of course, they've had Q3 appearances, I think, in every race so far this year. Unfortunately, not today. Let's get into Q3, though. We're going to need some sweat mode laps. But I definitely feel like, second row of the grid is certainly doable. Right, here we go, then. We've got 3 sets of tyres that we can afford to use here in Q3 for the Miami Grand Prix, but it only takes 1 lap to try and put yourselves right towards the front here, and hopefully on pole position. We'll try, and of course right on board for our fastest Q3 lap. You're going to need a low 26 if you want to be right at the front there, as that was a lot of curb immediately through turn 1. Not the tidiest run, but it's a run nonetheless. Well, purple through sector 1, purple through sector 2. It is often this final sector. We're just losing a fair bit of time there, as Sergio Perez immediately down to a 26.8, setting the pace at the moment, braking at the 100-metre board, though a little bit of front locking again, as we really are pushing this Pirelli rubber to the absolute limit. But out off the final couple of corners, what is the first time going to be? It is going to be a 26.5. Not as fast as we saw from some drivers in Q2. George Russell immediately slots up to P2, but that is a good lap time to immediately then have to chase with our final run. Right, well, here we go then. One final run here in Miami, and Max Verstappen is currently fastest by just 0.5 of a second. So this is still certainly doable. Could we be on for our first pole position in the My Team career mode? Rounding out the final couple of corners. We're going to really concentrate now and see what is possible. Oh, 13 thousandths. 13 thousandths the gap at the line. That one really stings. Oh, that is heartbreaking there. So close to our first pole in the My Team career mode, but Verstappen pips us at the post. Yeah, we just got such a good run out of the final corner on my first lap there that I was so careful about trying to match it, and yeah, just couldn't quite find the time that we desperately needed there. But we have definitely got the pace this weekend. We are back in the fight at the front. let's get into it. Miami Grand Prix time. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
We're here in the coastal shores of Florida for the Miami Grand Prix, which has become the 11th Formula 1 track held in the United States. The grandstands are packed for what we hope is going to be another fantastic race. Well, it's certainly not sunny here in the Sunshine State. A lap of the Miami Grand Prix features 19 corners and 3.36 miles of track around the Hard Rock Stadium. But these conditions should prove especially difficult for all of our drivers today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Mr. Monaco completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Bottas, Sergio Perez and Leclerc, Norris, Joe, Théo Pourchaire and Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda and Gasly, Albon, Latifi, Felipe Drugovich and Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Ticktum, Magnussen and Robert Schwartzman. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us, Ant, and tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Right, well here we are then, trackside for the Miami Grand Prix, and I was not expecting rain today, and looks like the circuit isn't expecting it for very long either. Only meant to see a small portion of the Grand Prix on a set of intermediate tyres, but who knows how accurate that will be today. Of course, then the real question will be softs, mediums or hards later on. I think we'll probably have to go with softer compounds on F1 at 22, but just making sure we've certainly got enough fuel to make it to the checkered flag. And let's just make sure we keep it clean and tidy early on. First front row start of this career mode, if I remember correctly. Let's see if we can try and turn it into, at the very least, a podium. I guess the other added benefit, of course, is the fact that at least the harbour now has got some rain in it before the Grand Prix. So, yeah, I guess whoever it was that was setting up this race wanted to do that, now can smile a bit. Well, Max Verstappen still leaving quite a big gap to some of the back markers, and of course we need as much tyre temps as we can possibly get there. George Russell clearly has got no patience either, as 4 cars from 4 different teams making up the top 4 on this Miami GP grid. Formula 1 is really at unseen levels of parity at the moment, and what does it make it more exciting? Hopefully it does. Trying to put as much heat as we possibly can through the rears.
Okay, not the best placement there, mate. Let's try and get a good launch as the race
Focus,
starts.
it's fine. We can still do this. Waiting up for those final few cars to line up on the grid. We've got Aston Martins and Alfa Romeos at the rear of the field, but let's just try and get it into turn 1 clean and tidy, and hopefully no front locking. It's uncharted territories here in the rain in Miami, and now we wait on those 5 red lights here on the grid. Round 5 of the year. And it is lights out, and away we go. And looks like George Russell has responded very well, but we haven't done too badly there as we head down towards turn 1. Oh, very, very careful again. Like I said, a front lock in there as Verstappen gets a little bit loose and lively. George Russell will squeeze him out over the curve through turn 2. And we will hang on to our starting position there. So not bad as Verstappen, I think immediately is going to try and go on the run from us. So we head down in towards Sector 2. Of course, we know we were running a bit higher downforce than everyone else this weekend. So hopefully in the rain, this should give us a little bit of an advantage here as we try and stick close through the rest of Sector 1 there. Front end really washing out though off of those first few corners, but we cannot let Max Verstappen run away at the start of this Grand Prix. Looking at it, looks like George Russell's someone to P3, Bottas still 4th ahead of Perez. It's the second Red Bull car down in P5 there, but of course we also know Max Verstappen will desperately want to try and get a win on the board today. It's been such a topsy-turvy year for the Dutchman so far, but really it has never gone his way, with the exception of the Imola Sprint, which of course only gives him 8 points rather than 25, and I'm sure he would have much rather had. So yeah, it really has been a difficult start to the year for Max Verstappen. Of course, we snatched away the dominant victory he was going to have at Australia after his engine blew up with 1 lap to go. Worryingly, that already seems like a long time ago, even though I know it wasn't. As we try and sit close to him, George Russell's struggling a bit further behind. So we head down the back straight, but as we round the final corners, we have survived lap 1. And we are still keeping the pressure on. But today is going to be all about making sure you make the switch on the right time onto the right tyres, as Verstappen there does pull away as I make a slight mistake out of the final turn. Head down, focus. What I have been quite surprised with early on in this Grand Prix as we come to the end of lap 2, new fastest lap of the day, is actually how similar the braking zones are in the wet to in the dry around this circuit. Was really expecting to have to be braking so early down at the end of the back straight, but no, we're basically braking at the same points we did in qualifying there. As you can see, Verstappen, so much confidence in these tricky conditions through those first couple of turns, but he is not breaking away. Oh, we've got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues. Not too sure who that is. Certainly not someone in the top 5 by the looks of it. Please don't say it's Verstappen again. I think it's an Alpine. I'm going to claim it's an Alpine, but I could be very wrong. Might even actually be a McLaren there. As no, Daniel Ricciardo and his Ferrari out of the Miami Grand Prix. That must be heartbreaking for him. But again, it's been a very, very tough start to the season. Team coming up with a new strategy then as we come towards the end of lap 4. And I think now it is time to box in this Grand Prix. We're going to be bolting on a fresh set of the soft compound tyres. So you head down into the pit lane then. Make sure we only just get the car slowed down into the pit lane. But this is where we could see some dramatic moments in this Grand Prix. Zhou Guanyu will lead as Teo Porcher is going to box into the pit lane there. So love that from our teammate. Of course, he's probably going to lose out more time by not pitting, as will Verstappen get held? Yes, he has! We are effectively up into the net lead of the Grand Prix there, as both of us bolted on a set of soft compound tyres. It's just not worth being on the harder rubber in these changeable conditions, as can we re-emerge just ahead of someone? Not too sure who it is, it's Robert Schwartzman. And the answer is yes, only just there. So we're still struggling for grip and temperature, as Schwartzman tries to look back around the outside. Please don't try it into there, mate. As, yeah, track immediately, though, drying up quite rapidly. As hopefully, Robert Schwartzman can hold up Verstappen a little bit. But, yeah, I really did think the rain would stay a little bit longer in this Grand Prix. But we've got to try and get Max Verstappen out of the DRS range and hopefully re-inherit the lead of this Grand Prix. And tell Robert Schwartzman he is an absolute legend. Holding up Max Verstappen, a treat for us at the moment. The gap up to 1.6 seconds for the Dutchman, who might be able to have a look past the Alfa Romeo down the back straight. Yeah, I think he is going to romp his way through. Because now we're going to see those front 4 into the box as well. Then Paul Piastri, Albon, Zhou Guanyu, and I want to say Esteban Ocon, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. So they're all going to have lost that quite big time. He's going to give some other cars a bit of a chance to push up the order, but we are now into the lead of the Miami Grand Prix, and honestly, Max Verstappen versus myself is really giving me F1 2021 vibes. As I think this is the problem we've got at the moment. Top-end speed, we are lacking so much in comparison to the other cars around us. As now it is 5 cars from 5 different teams battling at the front. And of course, this is the 5 teams that Formula 1 believes are pretty much on par in terms of raw pace at the moment. So as we head through this tight, twisty section, we often gain a little bit of time through there. Of course, just those ultimate aero upgrades really are making the difference. But Max Verstappen has absolutely got the bit between his teeth early on. Have we broken out of DRS range? It might only be briefly. No, we didn't even get out of the range there. But I think Verstappen just takes so much time out of me down the straights. I mean, look at that speed from Max Verstappen as we head down in towards the hairpin. He gets all over the back of me down the straight. Maybe this time round he might be close enough to try and get a run back down the bypass as we head through this middle sector. They're really attacking the curves though still. Through that couple of corners there. We've got to take every advantage we possibly can at the moment. I even upped the Reinhardt a little bit. Ready for this. Yeah, Mark absolutely spot on. We need to keep utilising energy. Luckily again though, we just about pull out the gap we need. Ooh. Had a big bit of contact there. I think that was Bottas trying to get his elbows out with Max Verstappen. Bottas getting his elbows out is something we don't say very often in Formula 1, but it is giving me a massive help because all of these guys squabbling with each other is meaning that Max can't get back within the DRS range of me, so we've got to try and break free. At the moment, you just see how hard we're pushing out of those first couple of turns. We can use a bit more battery just to try and open up this gap, of course, not long before we all box again. There is all horribly wide through that middle section, but just got to keep it clean and tidy. But now we've got a 1 second window. This is our golden opportunity. Our team want us in at the end of this lap, and I think honestly it's going to be the right call there, as we've got a Haas car that's gone round down at the hairpin. Yeah, just feels like these tyres are going off a bit, and of course if you don't box now, we'll have to come in 2 laps later, because I really don't want to hamper Teo Porcher's race any more than of course we already did by having a box nice and early. Hopefully we'll see Verstappen and co into the pit lane as well. But we've also got to be a bit careful there, as it looks like none of them into the pit lane, so we have come in a little bit early in comparison to a lot of other cars. I'm also bolting on a set of the medium compound tyres to see through to the checkered flag. The team originally was saying hards, but I think mediums is going to be the way to go, as we need to come out in ahead of that Haas car of Felipe Drugovich. So we head back down through turn 1. Oh, where on earth am I going? Nudge the wall there on the exit. We should get away with that one though. We've got to get these tyres up to temperature. We know how powerful the overcut can be on F122. Let's not allow it to happen to us. So there we go. Looks like we're starting to see some split strategies at the front of the field. Bottas and Russell both into the pit lane, but Verstappen and Charles Leclerc opt to hang it out for yet another lap there. It's a little bit late on the brakes out of the final corner. Here's Nicholas Latifi, P13, duking it out with Williams and Alpha Towers in this Grand Prix, whilst his teammate battles it for the race lead there. We are going to come out comfortably ahead of Bottas though, which is a really promising sign actually in this race. And I think we've opened up the gap even over those 2 cars there. I think we absolutely have there 3 seconds now, the gap over Bottas. So surely, as long as we don't lose too much behind Piastri, which we'll stay on board with to make sure that we don't, surely we're going to come out a long way ahead of Max Verstappen here, as all over the gearbox of Piastri sits perfectly where he needs to. So we've got a warning light just come up on the engine. What's that regarding? That, I'm guessing is gearbox. Yeah, gearbox up to 60%. We're going to have to use a lot of battery here to make sure we got speed over Oscar Piastri to the outside though, down into the braking zone. But supreme confidence there around the outside of the AlphaTauri there, just slot in behind the Williams of Nicholas Latifi. That's a force of habit. The Mercedes of Nicholas Latifi, sorry, I mean, in this Grand Prix there was really attacking a lot of curve that time round. Can we get a run out down the motorway? Hopefully we can. Try and get close to Nicholas Latifi, but we have used a lot of battery this lap, so we're not going to have much to defend ourselves with if Verstappen is still close there. But can we send it on the Canadian? In a word, yes. Beautiful little send there down at the final corner. But hopefully we're going to see more cars into the pit lane. Pierre Gasly as well as Yuki Tsunoda into the box. And we are going to be out a long way ahead of Max Verstappen here. This has worked out beautifully as Williams, for the first time in I don't know how long, lead a Formula 1 Grand Prix. You love to see that. Sadly, I've got no intention of allowing Albon to lead this Grand Prix for very long, as once again we're going to have to use a lot of battery though to try and make sure we get a run on the Williams, but I cannot afford to be sat behind him through the middle sector, as we're going to completely drain the battery at this early stage of the Grand Prix still. But up the inside of Alex Albon we go. I think he knows it's not a battle worth having, so we will now move back up into the lead of the Miami Grand Prix there, but 2.6 seconds clear of Max Verstappen. This is shaping up pretty nicely early on, but we're still only now getting to half distance. A lot has happened, but hopefully now we can just try and open up a gap. Oh, there we go, new fastest lap of the afternoon. Still just trying to save a little bit of battery at the moment, just each lap. So Max Verstappen generally is still taking time at me, but of course it does mean if for whatever reason we make a small mistake, he gets within the 1 second zone, then we will have something to defend ourselves with. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by how easy it is to save battery here at Miami. I kind of thought with a lot of these mid-speed corners it was going to be near impossible, but no. Well, there's no other way of saying it at the moment. Max Verstappen has absolutely got the bit between his teeth there. 2/3 distance done here in Miami, but the Dutchman has somehow been able to shake off Valtteri Bottas at the DRS range. Their championship leader, Valtteri Bottas, of course, don't forget. But Max Verstappen, he wants this win, and he wants it badly. Can we keep the Dutchman at arm's length into the final few laps here? We know how much more top-end speed he's got, but we are fast through the corners still. Don't forget, this is certainly not a one-sided fight or anything like that, but it is going to be quite difficult, of course, because that, I mean, Max Verstappen in that Red Bull around a track like Miami, he is hungry. Oh no, lap 22, 8 to go, and Max Verstappen now is within the DRS range, so this is where things are going to get really, really spicy then, in towards the final few laps. You can just see, I mean, that's what, 7/10 that Red Bull has taken out of me, just down that straight alone. Of course, we'll gain most of it back again, or through this next section of corners there, as that is now how hard we're having to push in this Miami Grand Prix. Rattle over the curbs. Pretty tidy, 1.1 for a brief moment, a catastrophic understeer off the corner, but luckily again, we get the gap back up, and over the 1 second mark, this is going to get really, really squeaky towards the end of this race there, because even when we're using battery, Max Verstappen is still taking time out of me. This is going to get difficult in the final few laps as I keep locking up the fronts down to the final corners, and apparently now I'm going to keep lighting up the rears as well. Scary moment as we head out the final corner. I don't think Max will be close enough this time, but you can see how much he gains because of it. And again, Max Verstappen is absolutely hungry for his first proper win of the year. Here comes Verstappen. He's actually going to get a run to the inside there. Max Verstappen, down the inside he goes, but we'll try and switch back on the exit the corner. And the Dutchman maybe just got a bit too hot and heavy in towards that corners in the middle sector. Very, very heavy and late on the brakes there, but again, can we open up the 1 second mark through the next couple of turns? Again, yes we can. So Max Verstappen once more will not have DRS. As we head down the back straight away, this is getting really, really difficult towards the end of this race. Don't ever try to commentate as you battle for the win on F1. We found that out in Jeddah again, of course, but oh, you can just see Max Verstappen again just trying to go for anything he possibly can. Team not worried about the tyres though still late on in the day. And Max Verstappen is certainly going to throw everything, and I mean everything, at this. 4 laps to go then, and Max Verstappen, I mean look at that, I mean she's gaining immediately as we head out onto the back straight there. Surely this time around it's going to be a done deal for the Dutchman, and look at that. That Red Bull is an absolute missile down the straight, so we can do nothing against that thing at the moment, as we'll try and hang close to him through these next few corners. It is just two very, very different car concepts, two very, very different setups as well, of course, around this Miami circuit. I mean, look how slow Max Verstappen is through there. We're practically pushing him along at the moment as the Dutchman tries to control the pace, but will we be able to get the power down and get back past him as we head down towards the final corners of the lap there? DRS wide open, and look at that, we're barely gaining. We have to attack this from in front of Max Verstappen there, as he's going to try and go defensive. We'll steamroll our way to the outside, down in towards the final corner. But if we get involved in a drag race with him late on, we have got no chance at the moment there, as round the outside we go. 4 more laps to go here from Miami. As you can see, the Dutchman going to try and come back at me down towards turn 1. But once again, we will just hang on in there. And again, as we head down the straight, I mean, trying to use battery here to defend ourselves is a pretty pointless task. So what can I do against a Red Bull going that quickly down the straight? Nothing at the moment. But again, you know, we just know we've got so much extra through here. We've still got to try and make something happen there as we ride close to Max Verstappen. Fill his mirrors, fill his gearbox. Oh, a little bit out of shape that time round, but you can still see there. Just can't put the power down over that bump. That's the problem that Max Verstappen is facing at the moment, is out of here every time we have to be good and steady on the throttles. We'll once again open up the DRS as we head down in towards the final corner. Max Verstappen will see us coming once again. We get right towards the inside. I've missed my braking point. I've missed my braking point. Keep it out the wall. Oh no, we've slotted in just behind Bottas as we'll try and get back up the inside of the McLaren. They're very, very aggressive. But Max Verstappen now 1.5 seconds clear at the front of the field. We cannot give up on this race just yet, as that is again missing a braking point down at turn 1. Are we bottling this with just a handful of laps to go? I mean, really now, this race does rely on whatever I can do through this middle sector there. As you can just see, we've got to get that gap under 1 second again. Right, those curbs rattle the car there as it skates over him. Have we got back within the 1 second? It's going to be close. Yes, we have. We are still within 1 second of Max Verstappen. We're going to get that DRS as we head out onto the back straight there. Luckily, Bottas about 1.5 seconds back, but we're going to have to be really strategic with our battery. We can't afford to use any. We need to stick within the range, though, and use it all, I would have thought, on the final lap. This is going to get really, really dramatic towards the end of the Miami Grand Prix, but I'm not giving in. Here we go, though, as you can see, penultimate lap of the Grand Prix all over the back now. Once more of Max Verstappen, but these tyres are also starting just to give up a little bit. And like I said, we have to try and stay close, but we cannot really use much battery on this penultimate lap here. It is all going to be about the setup 1 lap from now, down this very straight. But who is it going to be? Max Verstappen for his first win of the year, or us for our second? Of course, won the Grand Prix back at Australia just 2 races ago, but Max Verstappen since then has come back even stronger. Of course, that engine failure really has ignited a fire within the Dutchman's belly. But 1 more lap here at Miami, and it looks like we could be in for a barnstorming finish as long as I don't do anything stupid through these first couple of corners. Got to hang close, no wheel spin there. As you can see, Verstappen still struggling to put the power down. Just maybe a few small signs of the pressure showing in the Dutchman's driving style as we head our way through the right, through the left of this first sector here. Really get the car nice and out wide, but then tuck it back in. And again, right out of here, we're just going to use a splash of battery, but not too much that we haven't got enough as we head out of the final sector. We know just how much quicker we are than the Dutchman through this final part of the middle sector here. And even though we're a second back, we could be all over his gearbox still when we get down there. But that Red Bull, they are chucking everything at this at the moment, as you can just see, heading through here. Keep it clean, keep it tidy, Matt. We know how much we can gain there. Is nice and easy on the throttle on the exit. The rear tyres have all but given up here, but rattle over the curbs, and look at that again! Max Verstappen, nothing. He's got nothing left on those tyres. This is going to be a drag race down towards the final corners of the Miami Grand Prix there. The Red Bull gets so much better traction off the corner. Max Verstappen will be using all the battery he's possibly got, and we haven't got anything we can do against him there. Now he has to try and save to the inside at the final corners of the Miami Grand Prix there. It's a brave, aggressive move, but we've pulled it off Verstappen style on the Dutchman, and we're going to come through to win the Miami Grand Prix.
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserve that race win. Well done, mate.
They've done it then. A truly magnificent win here at the Miami International Autodrome. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Miami Grand Prix, and let me know down in the comments below whether you think that move was a bit too aggressive on Max Verstappen. There was no contact, but it was absolutely a Verstappen-style send on the Dutchman there. 0.4 of a second when we crossed the line, but after the disappointment of missing out in qualifying, we do take the race victory today. There, 26 points on the board. We are certainly now a championship threat. Max Verstappen P2 ahead of Bottas and Charles Leclerc, though. George Russell in at P5 ahead of Perez and Zhou Guanyu. Both Alpines just inside the top 10 ahead of Théo Pourchaire, who really did struggle all afternoon long. A little bit gutted for our French teammate there. Further down the rostrum, Latifi in 14th. Are we surprised? Not particularly. Daniel Ricciardo, the only man to DNF as well. They're a bit disappointing for the Australian, but it does mean championship-wise, Bottas still leads the way. 37 clear at the top of the table. Charles Leclerc still P2, though, just on 71 points. One ahead now of Max Verstappen. We leapfrog Sergio Perez there by virtue of more wins, up on 61 points there, tied with him, and just 1 point ahead of George Russell as well. So there is still 5 cars separated by 11 points after the opening few races of the campaign there. Pourchaire gets more points, though. Means he jumps past Pierre Gasly, Mick Schumacher ahead of Yuki Tsunoda as well, a bit further down the order, and then Kevin Magnussen jumping a couple of cars on count back as well. Constructors-wise, we of course do move past Mercedes thanks to that good haul of points there. I mean, at least we've got Théo Pourchaire contributing something, unlike Mercedes, unlike Mercedes, of course, with Nicolas Latifi. McLaren 6 points still clear of Red Bull at the top of the championship. Haas jump AlphaTauri, Aston Martin jump Alfa Romeo as well. Plenty of movement here at the end of the Miami Grand Prix. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will return very, very soon with more F1 22 content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.